Hi, and welcome to the Vet Story Podcast, home to the most outrageous stories told in VetMed. It's raw, it's unfiltered, unscripted, unedited, just raw, off-the-cuff stories. I'm your host, Reece Generelli, and if you're in the VetMed space in any capacity, and you have a story like this, I want to hear it. So get ready to have a laugh, eyes on the road if you're driving, or close the doors to your office. Sit back and enjoy the show. And we are back with another episode of the Vet Story Podcast. I'm here with a very talented, and you'll find out a little bit more about that in a second, the very talented Rebecca Fox. How you doing, Rebecca?
I'm doing great. How are you, Reece?
I'm well. Thank you for joining me today. I saw a video of you and you were playing the drums. Where were you playing the drums?
I played at the VMX Talent Showcase 2025.
Nice. I remember I was thinking about when I asked this question, and my first words were, I saw a video of you. I thought I have to very quickly say where I saw it, and in case people got the wrong idea. And we started to say she's got some extracurricular activities that we don't know about. So I had to make sure that I had to be pretty quick.
Quantifying that. Well, the first time I noticed they were having a talent showcase was in 2024. And I just, on a whim, decided to go for it. I've been playing drums for years, since I was a kid, and, was a big rock fan and wanted to be, a cool drummer. And I just picked it up. I learned self-taught, and then I ended up playing with some bands in college and played around at some house parties and clubs and things in cover bands. Wasn't in any, well-known band, you'd say, but, cover bands. And so I enjoyed doing that. And there was a time, I would say probably, long time ago, but when I started in VetMed and I was working as a receptionist at the first practice where I worked. And so I would go into work at, 6:30, 7 o'clock. And then I would leave in college classes. And then after class, I'd, real quick, and then head over to the club where I would play music till sometimes, 1, 2 in the morning, go home, go to sleep for, 4 or 5 hours and go back to work at the veterinary hospital and go, and I did that for a summer. And, that was burning the candle at both ends, but that was a lot of fun and, kind of, mesh those two worlds together. But with my experience, I thought, it might be fun to just kind of join in and do this talent thing. So 2024, I played, and then I wasn't going to do it again in 2025, but a friend of mine encouraged me. So I went ahead and went for it. I just play a different genre of song, but that's really the thing that I love to do outside work. Brings me a lot of happiness and also really aggression a little bit.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Let's start with where you were located. What do you currently do?
I'm based out of Orlando, Florida. And I am a hospital administrator at a general practice, a day practice here. I'm currently at East Orlando Animal Hospital here in Orlando, Florida. It's a very big practice. So it's a very, very big responsibility, and it does keep me awfully busy. It does keep me on my toes, but my team is amazing. I am so fortunate to have the team that I have is incredible. And so I'm in awe of them every day. And
it's not what you told me before
watching
we started
them in
recording.
action was what keeps me going. What's that?
That's not what you said about them before we started recording.
Reece, you said you weren't going to say anything about it.
That's my job. That's my job. Wonderful, wonderful. So from what you just told me, you've been in the industry for quite some time. If those who are just listening to this on Spotify and you don't know who Rebecca is, you should actually look at the video of this, because she doesn't look a day over 21. So I just want to throw that out there.
Well, I appreciate that. My OnlyFans says that I'm only 21 on there. So I appreciate you.
Nice. I love it. Love it. All right. Shall we get into it? Becca, take it away. What story do you have for us today?
Well, let's see. I have been working in VetMed for a while. I have several stories. I'm trying to pick a good one. My friend Esteban was a guest with your podcast recently, and he shared, I believe it was a ghost story. So, bouncing off of that, I have a story from a practice that I worked at in another state, and I was a receptionist at the time. I have a friend of mine who I still keep in touch with from way back when, but, I had worked there at the same time. And when I first started, part of the receptionist's responsibility was to help, come and open the door for the person who was picking up the deceased pets to take them off to the crematorium. And so I was told from day one, there's one dog in here in the freezer. Do not touch it. Don't let anybody take it. Don't touch it. Don't do anything with it. But they never said why. So, as time went on, every week, the delivery guy, the courier comes and always have to tell him, don't touch this one. Don't touch this one. So I was there for about, close to a year. And same thing. It was never explained to me really what this was or why this was. I one day, close to the end of my tenure at this particular practice, 2 detectives came in and they got, shuffled off to the side, and then they went back into the room where the deep freeze was, and then they walked out with the dog. And so I said, what's this all about? Why are they taking this dog? What are they investigating? What's going on? And no one told me, and no one could tell me. And it was just like an open-ended mystery. So, I ended up moving away. I moved to Florida after that. And after I was here, I want to say it was probably about, 10 years later, maybe. And it was just sort of, I don't know, it was just like a loose end that wasn't, tied up kind of questions. I always wondered, from time to time, I'd wonder what that was all about. And then one day I was watching, I feel like I needed some closure. I mean, there were questions. I like, I'm inquisitive, and I like questions to be answered. And I feel like there's closure there. And I think it was probably about 10 years later, and I was watching Forensic Files, and I saw, it was like that. It's like that meme that, Leo, where he's like Leo DiCaprio meme where he's pointing at the TV from Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
And I was like, "How? That's my boss. That's my only boss. He's on Forensic Files." And I couldn't believe it. They were talking about how, in a good way for him, maybe not for someone else, but that was a way for him. But I saw him talking, and he was explaining about how it was one of the first murder cases that they had used dog to solve a crime and to secure a conviction. So this particular case involved this dog who I guess had some, the dog had been shot during the shooting, that the dog had suffered a gunshot wound and had died as a result, but that some of the blood from this dog was on the car of the perpetrator. And so that was, that's why they needed the body, was to perform the DNA testing, because at the time they had only performed DNA on humans, and they had not done that on other species. And so I was pretty fascinating, but I thought it was a really interesting story to be a part of that. And one of my favorite shows, Forensic Files, to see my old boss there and put the pieces together years later and kind of like solve the puzzle. Then I had closure. Then I was like, oh, okay, now it all made sense. Now it all made sense, everything that we did to protect the dog.
Isn't Forensic Files like filmed in the 1980s?
I think it was the 40s, as a matter of fact.
It's like, we watch
myself ever, because I'm 21 and that's my story and I'm sticking to it.
We watch it and we're seeing like these, it's like watching, well, it is like watching the 1980s, early 90s. It's standard HD, not even HD, it's just normal TV. And you've got this narrow, because obviously the TV is all in high def, you got this narrow picture and you got these black borders on the side there. And that's what the Forensic Files that we see.
It does have that.
Yeah. So I was like, how old is this case?
Oh, wow. I think this was in the late 90s. I think this was late 90s that this all took place.
Wow. I feel like I too need some closure on who shot Tupac. I mean, we know who shot him now. That was closure. But
it's all those unsolved crimes. I think people who enjoy VetMed, I've noticed people who like VetMed and like solving puzzles, they approach the cases the way that like a detective would approach the case. They want to find out all the clues, and they want to, run down the clues and put the pieces together and come to a conclusion. I think people who have are solution oriented and really like, solving puzzles and riddles, they tend to seem to have those things in common.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Do you have another one that we can snag off?
I do, because I was on the fence about whether to tell which story to tell. I was going to give you a choice. Did you want the murder story or did you want the poop story?
We can do both. I mean, I don't know if I should let the cat out of the bag, but there is a episode coming up where, I mean, I like to call it a golden shower, but it wasn't quite a golden shower. But that's the title of the episode, The Golden Shower. Even though it's not true, that's the title that's going to be.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing it. Dying to know now. I need closure, so I need to hear this. I go 10 years without knowing what this episode is about, so I'll have to tune in.
Yeah, I mean, that will be out before this one comes out anyway, so everyone's like, what's he talking about? So go for it.
Well, the other story, ironically, comes from the same practice, and it was while I was a receptionist, and so my coworker, who I still keep in touch with every once in a while, she's great. I will call her Amy, and so
her name is actually Amy, though, isn't it?
her name is
everyone says we'll call her Amy, but it actually is Amy.
Call her Amy. I don't know. So what we used to do, very common practice is to, when you're calling to confirm appointments for the following day, you leave a voicemail. Back in the day, it was on an answering machine. But, you call, you get the answering machine, you leave your message. Hi, this is Becky calling from XYZ Hospital. We're calling to confirm Fluffy's appointment for tomorrow at 10:30. It looks like we're doing an annual visit and vaccines. And part of that annual visit is to run an intestinal parasite test. So we'll just ask that you bring a fresh stool sample with you to your appointment. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 10:30. If you need to cancel or reschedule, please, call us and let us know. So
the next week, you got this log that's come through those doors in a bag.
We called, and this was a cat appointment. We know that stool samples are harder to get from cats because they sit there in the litter box and they're not always fresh. But I think this guy had called and we said, yes, we need a fresh sample. Just bring that to your appointment. And he said, okay. Amy had checked him in. I checked him in the computer, and then Amy went and put him to a room, and then she came back a couple minutes later, and she was like laughing uncontrollably. And I was, what? She didn't want to tell me. She said, I'll tell you. She's like, just wait till he's gone. So we wait, he finishes his appointment. I was like, I need my questions answered, right? I want to know why she's laughing so hard. So, a little while later, I'm like, okay. He gets ready. He leaves. We both wave goodbye. Have a nice day. He just doubled over and, with laughter. And she was like, we go into the back. She's laughing so hard. And I'm like, what? So she says, she brings him to the room and she says, hi, did you bring the stool sample? And he says, yeah, here it is. And so he, goes down in his bag, he picks the bag up, hands it to her. It's like a brown paper bag. And as he's handing it to her, he goes, can I just ask you a quick question? And she says, yeah, sure. What is it? And he says, can you tell if my cat has worms from my... And she said, oh, so this is yours? And he said, yeah, it's mine. And so she goes, oh, well, we meant for you to bring the cat's stool. And she said he was so embarrassed. And so she did what she could to just, make him feel more comfortable. She said, it's okay. Like, totally understandable. You got confused. But, I'll just dispose of this, discreetly for you. And she said he was just so embarrassed. And so she went, she threw it out, and then, here we are waving, bye. And then, he left, and we just, she was just like, I'm going to pee my pants. I'm laughing so hard. She said, I've never had this happen before. So I've told this story a couple times. I think most people in VetMed have heard the story about, finding the thong, the foreign body exploratory, finding thong, pantyhose, or whatever. And then, the wife comes to the appointment when they're picking up, and, oh, I don't wear those, or, that's not my size, or whatever. We've all heard that story. I've never experienced that in my life. So I still wonder if that's an urban myth.
No, it's not.
But it seems to be something that happens to other people. But yeah, this guy brought his own poop as a stool sample for his cat. And he was one of the questions answered to. How do you know that my cat has worms if you from my own poop. He was trying to
Right.
put the pieces together too. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, no, I understand that. I can see that. But what's going on with your life? What's going on about you? Where is there any special things that you would love people to attend or hear, or what's going on?
Well, let's see. Will be presenting at the BHMA Management Exchange. It's coming up this month. I'm pretty excited about that. I'll be presenting with a colleague of mine who was my study partner for the CDPM exam. She and I are going to be presenting, and I'll also be presenting something else on my own at the Management Exchange too. And you
Okay.
may see me at VMX 2026 playing the drums again. Who knows? I don't know.
Who's
But for
who's
now,
your study partner?
Christy Spielman. Hi, Christy. She's amazing. She's been great support, and she's a great person and a great manager.
Nice. Again, it's not what you said previous to recording. So, in addition to playing the drums, in addition to presenting, what else is going on in your life?
Well, my job keeps me pretty busy, and since I like solving puzzles, I like fixing things. I do enjoy DIY, believe it or not. So I recently, and that's a little work-life balance type thing for me too. Something that I enjoy as a hobby is repairing appliances, believe it or not. So,
Repairing your appliances.
yeah, I
Wow.
do. I like saving money too. So I recently fixed my washing machine, and I also fixed my refrigerator, and I fixed the dishwasher not too long ago. I fixed my son's car window that wouldn't go up anymore. So we took the whole door apart and bought the part on Amazon, and we went ahead and replaced it together.
Nice. Look at you, Miss Fix It. Right,
But
look
yeah,
at
I
that.
did keep doing that. And so I had it was the water dispenser in my refrigerator, the housing, it would no longer hold the filters. And so I went and bought a replacement off of Amazon, and had to pull the refrigerator part away from the door, or the wall rather. And then I had to shut off the water, unplug everything, disconnect all the connectors, take the hoses off and everything, and then go back to the front of the unit and take off the cover and pull the housing out, and rehook, everything back up with the clips and the tubes and the hoses and everything else, put that back in, and, tested it out, make sure that it worked right, put the new filter back in, and everything was good to go. So went ahead and hooked everything back up on the back of the fridge, and, pushed it back in place. And so now I have filtered water again.
Nice. Look at that, Miss Fix It. Your partner must be loving you.
Well, I give him a run for his money, I suppose.
Yeah. He's like, well, I can sit on the couch and let her do it. That's fine.
Right. Yeah.
It's wonderful. All right. Where can people find you, Rebecca?
Oh, let's see. Well, you could find me on, LinkedIn, I suppose. If you'll go to, I think my handle would be Rebecca-Fox on LinkedIn.
We'll put it in the show notes.
And every once in a while, I'll post some videos on TikTok, and my handle there is FOXE Drummist. My dad used to joke and instead of calling me a drummer, he'd call me a drummist, and that was his kind of fun way of doing that. So that's kind of a nod to him. So it's FOXE Drummist on TikTok. You want to check me out?
Do I see you next week at Vegas?
No, I will not be in Vegas this year, unfortunately, but I may catch you next year, or at VMX in January, perhaps at WBC 2026.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely be at VMX next year. I try to alternate the two between VMX and WBC every year. So, but next year is VMX. So yeah, we'll definitely catch you then. If not, we'll see you around the forum traps anyway. Once again, Rebecca, so good to have you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Reese. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Bye.
And thanks for joining us today. That's all we have time for. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have a story that you would love to share and want to come on the show, drop me an email, reese@ivmsolutions.org. This podcast was brought to you by IVMS, Innovative Veterinary Management Solutions. If you are tired of being a business operator and want to be a business owner, then give me a call. If you've heard of systems like Traction, EOS, Lean, 4DX, and other similar systems, They're all great systems, but none are vet specific. I have taken the best of every system, rebuilt them using our industry KPI standards and your practice core metrics, because every practice is different. I will bring your vision to life. Get your team bought in and aligned to your long-term goals. I will systemize your practice so you can have more time doing what you love to do. Stop having people rely on you. Practice ownership should not be this hard. Let's move from being a business operator and move into the business owner category. If this interests you, go to my website, www.ivmsolutions.org. Until next time, take care.